Hello. Welcome to the Fort Wayne Airport Advisory Board meeting for November 12th, 2025. Yours truly presiding. Call to order, see who we got here today. Myself, Larry. Tim Converick has excused absence. Brian Clary is unknown here. Russ Schauauer is excused absence. Sandra White is here. Joe Givney is here. Phil Cummings is excused absence, and Patrick Halloran, I don't know where he's at. So, 1, 2, 3. We'll get 4 voting members, I guess. That puts us as a quorum. So, we can go ahead and have a meeting. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3, call for conflicts of interest. Anybody have any to report? 4, changes to the agenda. Anybody have any that they'd like to make? 5, approve minutes of the previous meeting, 10/8/2025. So we make a motion on that.
Brian Clary just logged on, so he is online with us.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hey, sorry about that.
hello, Ryan.
I make a motion.
Good evening.
Minutes from last month.
All in favor of approving the minutes of the previous meeting, say aye.
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 There we go. Meeting minutes are approved. Moving on quickly to staff reports, item 6, and updates. Report from the airport director and staff. Jackson, you're on.
Just have a couple things to report on here. Our full-time LOA for the tower has been approved. It's just pending signatures once the shutdown is officially over. So it's sitting on a desk right now waiting. You'll see our NOTAM only shows the tower going till the end of December, end of this year. As soon as we have that signed LOA in our ACM, we can update that NOTAM to just be a permanent NOTAM. There won't be an end date to it. Once the airspace itself is published, that NOTAM will go away, obviously, once we're published Delta here. So just wanted to update everyone. We're getting calls saying, so is the tower leaving at the end of December? Is it staying? It's just, it has to read like that until we physically have that LOA in hand. It's just delayed because of the shutdown.
Do we have any idea when it will be published?
We honestly don't. It's totally in the FAA's hands. They have to study a lot of things. License our with the FCC, our frequencies have to be licensed permanently. Essentially, they're 50-year licenses, so they have to do the spectrum study. There is a good chance that we will have our own frequencies. Our local frequency will be our new CTAF when the tower's closed. So we will not be on the same channel as everyone around here anymore. So 22.8 will likely go away. It won't be. It'll be the same as tower frequency when the tower's closed. So that'll help cut down on some of the confusion as well. The compass rose, if you've seen any of the NOTAMs, I have a NOTAM published right now for the markings being non-standard. Technically, it is due for its calibration. It expired last month. A gentleman has to come out. They have to do a Magner verification on it. It will definitely get reprinted. It happens every 10 years. So it's due for that. I just wanted to publish in case anyone was actually using it to swing their compass that it is not standard right now until that's done. So hopefully he can make it out before the snow flies and it's covered up with ice and snow. If not, it'll be likely springtime. But as long as he can come out, calibrate it, we can pound the stakes in that show the actual headings, we can open it back up. I mean, it's open now for use. I just wanted to show that it could be off. And then my last thing was on the minimum standard subcommittee. We are finishing the red line version of that. We are meeting with the subcommittee that we had met with earlier this year to go through that, and then we will have those to bring to the board likely at the December meeting, because I would like to present those updates to the board downtown and have those adopted by January, those updates and revisions to the minimum standards. So like to get a pin put in that and get it finished. So we'll be reaching out to schedule that meeting with the subcommittee very soon.
Is that something that you bring back to the full citizens aeronautics board, to us, or is it just it's coming out of the subcommittee to us and then on to the commissioners with a recommendation? How does that work again?
Yep, so it'll go from the subcommittee to the advisory board, and then the advisory board will make their recommendations to either send that on or further revision, and then it'll go down to the BOCC as a final.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. That's all I have, aside from what else we're gonna present today.
Are the tower hours now 7 a.m. to 5?
Correct.
Think they're gonna stay that way all winter?
It'll stay that way all winter, and it'll likely stay that way forever. Those are the hours they're proposing for the Delta airspace here. So it'll always be an extension now. So during fire season, if they want to keep it open till 9, you'll just see a note for an extended Delta hour, essentially. But that'll be the new set hours for the airport.
7 to 5.
7 to 5. Yep.
Are we gonna roll through this at all?
If there's any questions to it, I can definitely speak to any of that. Nothing really has changed aside from just housekeeping measures on there. We are moving forward with the design for Taxiway Alpha, the rehab for Taxiway Alpha. As we're doing a little more study. We did some core samples this week to check the subgrade underneath the taxiway to see its condition. Our earlier core samples didn't really tell us the quality of the soil underneath. We basically, if we have a decent enough base underneath there, we won't have to bring in more material. So we'll actually save some money to go a little bit further on that project. So as we finish design on that, we'll be presenting the full design plans when we have those on that. But other than that, we have the grant from Idaho State Department of Transportation for the LED lighting rehab for 2 and 2.0 and replacing all the PAPIs with LED PAPIs. We'll likely see construction on that more or less springtime because they are pulling new conductor in. I mean, it's something they could work on through the winter, but we're probably going to have them hold even though. So we're going to go out to bid for that this week. That should be going. So outside of that, everything's pretty standard.
We're on hold on the fire truck.
So with the ARF truck, I'm still meeting with the auditing office over the next couple of weeks on our final plan, but it looks like we have the lease truck now. We're going to be purchasing a rehab truck, which is essentially a zero-time truck. So anywhere from like a 2005 to 2015, it has gone back through a factory rehab. They're about half the cost of a new truck, and we can get them a lot quicker, usually about 6 to 8 months, rather than about 3 to 3.5 years right now is what they're showing. So something that's pretty cool about the company we're working with Oshkosh, they will credit all lease payments that we've made on this current truck towards the purchase of our truck. So technically, we're already purchasing our truck. So we are not out any money by having the lease vehicle. In the final workings on that, hopefully we're looking at next June, July to have the new truck delivered, and then this lease truck would go home back to them.
How about snow equipment?
Snow equipment, we're all set and good to go. Nothing has changed equipment wise. We'll kind of run through our current equipment on here. The big change in snow equipment is going to be since the FAA is not purchasing us an ARF vehicle because they only want to purchase us the Index A, the smaller one that is not even compliant with the service that we provide here. That money is actually going to be rolled over into an MB5 now. So this year, fiscal year 2026, we'll be going out to bid likely February, March on a new MB5, which is the multitasking equipment. That's that long train piece that has the blade, the broom, and the blower all attached to it. So you essentially eliminate 3 drivers and 3 separate pieces of equipment. It can be done with one, so a lot more efficient. Once again, manufacturing time on those is a good at least 2 years, almost 3 years. So we likely won't take possession of it until 2027 or so, but our current equipment will definitely hold us through till then. And, but that will definitely be a welcomed piece of equipment to get here. We'll be able to get runways open in less than 30 minutes. So really nice.
Any update on the Delta 3 hangar project?
They're in civil right now, so they're working on engineering as we speak. And the building, I guess, has already been ordered and it's only a couple weeks out for the first phase. So we'll likely see materials start to show up, but they're still working on their site disturbance permit with the county.
How's that gonna affect access from the north gates once they get that going?
So essentially, I can kind of, I don't know if you can really see it on that map behind you there. The Skyhawk gate that is currently right in this area, that's going to be pushed down to like Cessna. So you'll be able to, you'll pass the Cessna gate and then there'll be the Skyhawk gate. So the fence line will be redone there. The fence that runs behind like David Adams hangar and everyone right there, they can, the right of way for the road is actually north of that because most of their properties go to that fence line. They have the choice to either keep the fence up and have a fenced little yard behind their hangar, or we can go through and take the fence out. So we'll kind of leave it up to those tenants, but there'll be Skyhawk itself will be a 50-foot right away that goes all the way through there and continues down all the way to Pratt's hangar there.
So we're gonna pull the gates here and here.
We're not necessarily going to pull them. We'll likely keep the equipment there, but they could just be open because we're going to move that North Atlas gate that's here, move it down to the end of Atlas and stop it. So that whole area near the west ramp there won't be just this like public access area. That'll be closed down and considered an airport because Citation is going to become a taxiway essentially.
So what's gonna be the timing for installation of this gate?
Not until his first building's done. He actually requested that none of the fence move until he wants to be able to build outside the airport. So his subcontractors don't have to work with airport access, which I told him, I'm like, that's their decision. That's a security thing. If he's fine with the job site being outside the fence, that's totally fine. Once the building's done and the taxiway's going in, then we'll start to reposition the fence and move those gates over.
Okay. So in terms of, he's going to be working this area.
Correct.
So will we still access these north gates using this road, or we're gonna have to?
He'll maintain access all around that. Yep, the Citation and the current Skyhawk gate and Sikorsky there will be unchanged. So he'll just be building off to the shoulder of it. Yep.
Anybody else have anything else? Move on and do your snowing.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen here so everyone can see it.
Are you sharing a screen with the? Okay, I could.
You got there, Brian?
Yeah, I'm starting to see it. It looks like it's starting to come up.
Excellent. All right.
Okay, I see it. Yep, the part 139, 313.
All right. So basically, this we thought that it would be prudent to just knock out 2 meetings with 1 meeting and do our annual snow meeting that's required by the FAA during an advisory board meeting. Most of the people that have interest in this plan attend these meetings already. So we're going to use a portion of this to present it. It's one of our FAA requirements that we present this annually for any changes. Basically, it's how the airport moves snow, and keeps the airport open during winter conditions. So if there's any questions during any of this, definitely just shout out. It's not too long here, but it'll give a pretty good idea of the ops that the guys do around here. So we'll talk about pre-storm preparation, our equipment we use, the removal criteria, the triggering points for our snow plan, runway and taxiway priorities, snow removal procedures, how NOTAMs work, and our communication and safety during those operations. One thing that is very nice, the biggest change obviously this year, is we will have a tower open during snow removal operations. So it'll actually make it much safer, much easier for us and the operators as well. So obviously pre-storm preparation, our duty managers and operations staff, they're watching the weather very, very closely. They become weathermen during this time of the season. Storm movement, what type of precipitation, wind direction, velocity, temperatures, expected accumulation, extended forecast, all that plays into trying to get some sort of a pre-plan down of what there is to expect. Obviously, most of the time you don't know until the event is here what it's actually going to produce, but we can get everything. There are some pre-treatments we can do for ice if we think it's going to be more of like an ice storm than just light snowfall, different things like that. So activating the snow removal personnel consists of myself, our 2 operations duty managers, our ops specialists, 4 of them, and our 2 heavy equipment mechanics. They are cross-trained as snow removal technicians as well. So they're fully certified with all of our 139 training to come out and operate that equipment if we need them out there. So during a event, the minimum personnel that'll be out on the airport is 4 people. So essentially that's our yellow broom, our big straight plow you'll see on there that clears the runways, a snow blower or loader, and then our second loader. And the loaders are, you'll see them, they're basically used to clear and clean up and do different things like that. So it's up to the duty manager to monitor current weather conditions during the published hours of operation. We utilize our AWAS, Weather Underground, Weather Service, pretty much any way we can get weather information. They're deciphering all of it. We do not have surface sensors at this airport. Hopefully someday we will have those, but we do not have those currently. For those who don't know what they are, basically they're sensors actually out on the runway that tell condition, temperature, how much snow is sitting on top of it, is it ice, all the things. So they're pretty high tech, more of a like a larger 139 item. Our operations duty managers, they are in command during the entire operation, also called snow bosses. If anyone is on the radio and wants to reach the snow boss, if the tower is not in operation, just call for the snow boss and you'll get the person that's in charge of that operation at that time. If the tower's open, the tower will coordinate everything. So you'll be talking directly with ATC. They will be in a constant state of inspecting the airfield for changing conditions. Myself or the duty managers are responsible for initiating the snow plan. So the triggering events that we start removal operations, ½ inch of slush, ½ inch of wet snow. If the snow's a really dry snow and light snow, we can go up to 2 inches. Any ice or freezing rain on the surface, that surface is closed. So at those triggers, the surface is completely closed until remedied, treated, or something, or remaining closed if we can't keep up with it or any of that. So those are our triggering amounts per our certification manual with the FAA. And those are pretty standard across the country. Here's our snow and ice control equipment, most of it. That is up in the snow building up on the north side of the airport. So everything fits in there, keeps it all warm and thawed out for the next day, which is pretty nice. Most of the stuff would sit outside and it wouldn't thaw. The brooms and plows and everything, the blower, they'd stay iced up, and we'd be out there with like the jet blow heaters trying to melt stuff off so we can maintain it or fix it or just get it unclogged. So this is definitely pretty nice. They can get in there, get thawed out, and be ready to go for the next day. So we have our big freight liner. We call it the Franken liner. It's our big high-speed plow, big 6x6, literally just has a giant straight blade. So this is one of the pieces of equipment that would be replaced with an MB5. This is our plow that goes out and starts hitting the main taxiways and runways, center line out, moving everything to the edge so it can be blown. One of our loaders, the 644, another articulating straight plow. We use these a lot in like the intersections of taxiways, the thresholds, any area. That big 6x doesn't really turn around very well. These being an articulating loader can really spin around, really good turning radius. So these are constantly doing all the cleanup and radiuses, and that big straight blade is just moving the bulk of it off the edge. 624, same thing. A lot older. That loader actually has over 20,000 hours on it.
Wow.
It was a hand-me-down from solid waste, so it's getting there. Those are equipped with the articulating snowplow blades. All 3 of those pieces of equipment. Rat plow, large. It can cup a lot more snow, and it's a little bit wider than those articulating plows. We use these like out on the west ramp, or actually this has a poly blade on it, so it doesn't leave not that the other blades leave metal, but it could leave a metal impregnated into the asphalt. So like the compass calibration pad can't have any metal on it. So it has to be cleared with a poly edge blade. So one of our pieces of equipment, we can also use that on surface streets. It's good for pushing out roads and taxiways, just for doing like straight pushes. Our snow baskets, probably the most important piece of equipment we have. Those can go on both of our loaders. This is for moving large amounts of snow really quick. When we get all the taxi lanes mucked out, you'll see our big snow storage piles. This is how we get those piles and how we move those piles to spread them out in the infield and stuff. We'll show that on a map later, but that pile of snow is taller than that loader there. We have our big high-speed blower. This is our old Oshkosh. It was a 1991 we got from military surplus. It's still working pretty well. It just needs to hang on for a couple more years until we can replace it. But this does a lot of the heavy lifting. When we windrow all the snow off to the sides of the runway and taxiway, this is what actually moves the snow up and out into the infield once they do that. This is another blower. This is kind of our backup secondary. It can't really handle as much bulk as that other one. It's not as powerful, but it will work if the green blower goes down. This is our backup. This is our big high-speed broom. That does not have the broom head in that picture. It's the Bluetooth wireless model. But this is also one of the pieces of equipment that would be replaced with that NV5. So you're taking the operator that'd be in that Freightliner, the operator that'd be in this, and just making it one person in the front. So we use this equipment all year round. In the summertime, this is just brooming taxiways and runways, keeping fog off. In the wintertime, it's moving snow and ice and debris off of the surfaces. So it's definitely an important piece.
Quick question, how much of an issue is FOD at the airport?
It's actually, I would say we probably have a little bit more of a push with us because we have so much surface vehicle traffic on our movement areas, more than other airports. A lot of airports would have surface streets and zipper roads. So, you know, driving between taxiways, or ops vehicles even, they would be on a designated road or zipper area on the ramps, and not driving out on the movement areas unless there was like a light to be fixed out there during the one inspection. So our guys are pretty constantly out there sweeping just to make sure that we don't have any issues out there. But we can definitely take the load off by designing in the future, really looking into how to keep everyone off of the movement areas unless you're in an aircraft.
Is FOD typically items picked up off people's tires, things like that?
Yeah, just rocks getting caught in the tread and stuff usually. And just, we have a lot of construction going on here. So we have a lot of equipment running around and just trucks pulling off into the mud and pulling up on the taxiway or anything like that. So you'll see our little Bobcat or our little skid steer in here. It has a broom attachment and it does a lot of work. It's pretty easy to go out there, so you don't have to fire up the freight train here to go do it. So these both, that yellow broom and this piece of equipment, they actually have two engines, two huge turbocharged. The turbo Detroit's in there. One engine runs just the chassis, the wheels. The other engine is running the accessory up there. So they can definitely get with it. Skid steer, we have multiple attachments for this: blowers, brooms, cupping plows, ramp plows. This thing works really well for getting around the lights. If we do end up with a windrow that gets pushed into some lights, they can kind of go around the lights a lot easier than with that bigger piece of equipment and clear that stuff out and get it up and out of the way, or around hangars. It's just pretty maneuverable. And they'll use this to like clear out around signs, the pappies, the windsocks, different things like that they need to be a little more technical around. This is a really good one.
You say there's a minimum of 4 people on during snow removal?
Yep.
What typically do you have? Do you operate with more than that, or
Typically we'll have more. We will have usually up to about 6 people here. So we'll have someone out in this, we'll have someone out, but we'll usually send a loader out to the surface streets to catch everything outside the airport, like all of our streets that we own, like Boynton, Phantom, different things like that, just so people can get to their hangars, Cessna, Gulfstream, different roads like that, while we're cleaning the runway and stuff. But you'll see on our, what are our primary surfaces, that's kind of the initial focus, and then we'll start to branch out from there and get everything else cleaned up. With the V plow on there. our chem truck. This guy has, this is what we use to apply the de-icing granulate to the runway and taxiways. Right behind it, those pink sacks, that's the FAA approved de-icer. It's non-corrosive for aircraft essentially, but all that gets loaded into that spreader, and just like a spreader sander, it goes around on the runways. Usually we don't treat taxiways unless we have like a really bad freezing rain where we couldn't get a taxiway open, but the runway is flyable. For the most part, the de-icer is only used on the main runway and on 2 and 2.0 if we get a hard freeze on it. But that's the chem spreader. The upgrade to this eventually will be when we go into liquid de-icing. That's a huge step money wise to go from the, we spend about $20,000 to $30,000 a year for that chemical de-icer is what the airport spends. Anywhere from 6 to 12 applications is usually what we end up doing per year. It doesn't do very well if you have like that freezing fog, really thin freezing rain. It needs a little bit of moisture or temperature fluctuation to get that granular to really set into the ice and start to thaw it. That's where the liquid chem would come in, and you would spray that down like a fog and it would kick it right now. So there's a few of the closure events where we've been closed for a day right after an ice storm, waiting for the sun to come out and really get it broken up so we can sweep it out of the way. But you're going from 20 to 30 grand to 100 to 150,000 a year for that liquid de-icer and a piece of equipment to spray it with. A little information on the granular de-ice. For all the tenants, we like to, we just want to emphasize that don't use like the Home Depot de-icer on the air side. On the Cessna side or your sidewalks, if you want to use that, that's fine.
This is the only de-icer that's approved.
This is the only, anything that's FAA compliant, but we do stock that here in the office. We have a whole pallet of it in here. They're the 40-pound bags. We sell them at cost. They're $40. So we're not making any money with it. We just want to encourage people to come here and use that stuff if they're wanting to de-ice their apron in front of their hangar. Got our little cab overblower. This one does okay for like parking lots or around hangars and stuff. This also is a mower in the summertime. So basically, as far as windrows, we're getting all the material off the taxiways, off to the edge line. We don't like to build them over 24 inches. We are allowed to have the surface open with up to a 24-inch windrow, which we would note them. Anything taller than that obviously turns into a wingtip issue for most airplanes. So we like to do kind of what they're doing here. They'll do a back cut initially to pull it away from the lights, and then they'll pull everything to it. And that last pass, do a really slow pass to make a nice windrow, and then use the snowblower to blow it up and out of the way in a perfect world. Yeah. This is one thing we want to be real cognizant of are the little ice chunks and slush balls that fall off of vehicles in the wintertime. If you do drive out on a surface, kind of keep an eye behind you and make sure you're not dropping off anything in the taxiway after it's been open. These can definitely, that's just like a rock sitting out in the middle of the taxiway. So they're constantly, it's falling off our equipment, but we have equipment chasing equipment, trying to keep it all clean. So just more or less an awareness when operating and when driving out there just in surface vehicles. Let's see. So here's our priority map. This is our 139 actual approved map. It doesn't necessarily mean that your hangar is the last thing that we are plowing. This is the map that is required for commercial air service to be at this airport. This is the primary surfaces we would have to clear with those services. So 624, the ARF station, fire station, to the middle point of that runway, and its 2 primary taxiways are the first things that we go out and do. Secondary is all of 2 and 2.0, Alpha Delta, and our tertiaries are our surface roads and taxi lanes. So as always, definitely, if you have a flight coming up, we will always make an effort to be open. If you give us at least a 24-hour notice for departure, we will have your route from your hangar to the open runway, open and available for you. Most of our operators that are flying, turbine stuff in and out here quite a bit, they're giving us a schedule for like 2 months. I know Hagedon, I usually get a 6-month schedule from them, so we already know when they're going to be leaving. Inside, if you have a pop-up trip, just give us a call. We'll absolutely do our best to get it open. I know our guys, they'll stay late to keep something open. We've had arrivals coming in at midnight where they're like, hey, we're just trying to get home, and our guys are available to be here. So this is in no way a representation of how important our users are to one piece or another. This is just an operational map that we have to have. So definitely give us a heads up and we'll get you in and out, no problem. And that goes back to even on your aprons and stuff. We will not clear snow. We're not splitting snow and pushing snow onto people's aprons. We will do the best to just do straight pushes and scoop it up, get it up out of the taxiways, taxi lanes. If we get a heavy snow year, we have equipment to move snow. So if you're buried, we have stuff that can move. As long as you're okay with certain pieces of equipment being on your asphalt or your concrete apron, we'll help you guys out. As long as we get the runways and taxiways open, we'll come over to the hangars and help you guys get unburied. So don't feel like you're stuck. Communication safety, ensure that all amber beacons or radios are on at all times. This is more for ground surface vehicles, fuel trucks, FBO vehicles. If you are out in the movement area, past those movement lines, you're supposed to have the amber beacon and two-way communication with the tower anyway. So definitely during the winter, as far as the pilot side, just be aware of a lot more equipment out on the surfaces moving snow. Notices to airmen, NOTAMs kind of shows you we'll be communicating all field conditions to air traffic control and the Spokane approach when our tower is closed if we're out here late. This is kind of an example of what one would look like on a field condition report. Your RCAM number is 333, so basically your touchdown point, midpoint, rollout, part of the runway, it's divided into thirds. The lower the number, the more hazardous it is, higher the number, better conditions they are. So this is showing all threes, 30% compacted snow, plowed. That's usually what you'll see after we clear and open a surface. No matter how nice our blades are, they're gonna just compact and leave a thin layer of snow. That's what we're reporting. It can still be slippery. Plowed and swept, 100 feet wide, 22-inch snow banks. Those are the windrows out on the side and the time it was observed. So no matter the condition, our guys on leaving for the day, if there's no more snow removal to happen, they will always publish a note or a FICON right before they leave. So that'll be the most recent for that evening. This is an example of the RCAM chart, how the numbers are deciphered. Before, it would be up to operations to come up with their own numbers. Our NOTAM manager service with the FAA now, it takes the information that you put in when you say it has 30% compacted snow or 2 inches of dry snow or whatever the surface condition is, and it comes up with the number automatically. So if that system's ever down, this is what we're looking at. Obviously zeros and ones, if it's a 0, that surface is closed. A 1, we're having a hard conversation about closing the surface or treating it in some way. Some operators don't allow their aircraft to be flown. You get more commercial stuff, like they can depart in 3s, but it has to be at least 5s for them to arrive here. So that really comes into play when we're trying to get everything open for everyone. Post-storm, once all the primary surfaces, secondary surfaces are clear, everything for the most part is back open. We snap right into cleanup mode. All the piles that were built on ramps or out in the infields, we're going to be hauling those out into our permanent snow storage areas, trying to knock down piles, get ready for the next event, because we could have a back-to-back storm where it would really start to pack up quick. And honestly, it's getting harder and harder with all the construction, all the new hangars popping up. All of our our snow storage areas are disappearing. So this kind of shows you, these are the orange dots where they're just our normal snow storage areas. So like out in the middle of the infield, that's a huge area. Once it's going out there, we're spreading it out to where it's no more than 12 inches deep out there. We're not building a mountain out in the middle of the airport. Right over here by Barry's, the avionics shop is a big one. The West Ramp, obviously out kind of near those Dauntless trailers, is a big one. We will have the new taxiway Charlie to contend with this year, so it'll be kind of interesting to have the guys get out there and move snow on it and see where the best place to push everything is. As far as the FBO out of Stancraft, they do a really good job of getting snow out to the east or west of their ramp and really pushing it out far, so it's not building these big mountains on either side. What we're trying to avoid is when you're pulling out onto a taxiway, your vision's not blocked by a snow pile, essentially. So trying to keep everything pulled back.
And they're responsible for their own ramp?
Yes, yep, so Stancraft will clear their own ramp. Same with Coeur d'Alene Aviation, they have their own equipment. And a lot of our tenants, I mean, when you get like around Jim Parker, he has his own loader out there that he has contractors come out. That is a good point. The airport does have a list of pre-badged, ready to go contractors to clear snow too, as a list here. So if anyone needs a list of who are all the contractors that are ready to work out here, we do have that. If you have a new contractor that hasn't been out here, we just ask that they come in, get an orientation with airport staff where we like to see snow go and everything. But these are all the list of guys that pretty much know how to move snow at the airport, where to put it.
About how many are on that list?
What do you think on that, Kim?
There's not a whole bunch. I would say probably 3 or 4.
Yeah,
maybe
I was gonna
5.
say around 5, less than 5.
Yeah.
Is it hard to get on that list?
Not at all. Yeah, if there's someone that's willing to come out and get badged, take the test, and just do a quick little orientation with one of the guys, they can absolutely be on there, definitely. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions related to snow, moving, all that good stuff.
Just curious,
Mhm.
apologize for being
No worries.
late. Thankfully, we have you and your operations guys willing to live this life and be on call. How do you manage overtime? How do you budget?
It's definitely something we want to keep an eye on. Overtime is really made during the winter time. We have a pretty large overtime budget specifically for wintertime ops. We've always played around with having winter seasonals. It's pretty hard though when you're looking at just specialized equipment. You really had to have done it before. Operate big equipment, operates specialized equipment, not tear up. I mean, you run over something that could cost 10 grand real quick out there.
Yeah, you must
So-
have a human knocking off.
We do.
Really bad.
Yeah, so, and we do have a lot of operators like these instances where we have, I mean, as an option, we can bill for staff time to someone that wants to keep the airport open, which we've had. So if you see our guys out here like 11 o'clock for one jet to arrive, they have made arrangements with Stancraft to pay our staff time thousands of dollars to be out here just to be able to land here. So, and that covers all that overtime. So that's not coming out of our main budget. So, yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
One more.
Yes, sir.
I was curious as to with the tower operating,
Mhm.
if these contractors had any training or anything like that about communicating with the tower.
We are,
Seeing sometimes they're gonna be like on taxiway Delta, stuff like that, on the moving out area, they've been given, some training as to now we have a tower operating that they.
how to stay clear and how to talk and all the
Right.
things. Yes, our duty managers are reaching out to the list just to kind of give them a heads up of the change, because most people are not ready for us to have a tower here through the winter, so. Yeah. Any other questions? That's all I have. I appreciate the time.
Alright. This is one to Gary, Coeur d'Alene Airport Association update.
Well, we had a meeting last night and, we had a great chili feed, that went pretty well. We are moving more into discussion about safety and accidents that have happened in the past. And even as we move along, there's a lot of accidents been having in the general aviation world. And it's killed a lot of people, and we're trying to learn from that in our discussions now. So that's something that's come up. And then we have the viewing stand that Gaston is working with us on, and he's doing all the work. Let's be honest about that.
We're good.
And, but he has everything pre-assembled and ready to go. We just, got a little setback with Phil out of commission. And so as soon as we, crack the whip on Phil, we'll have this thing going. And that's about all I have. We have some new members, and we're still gonna meet every month, because there's a lot of valuable information that we're picking up off pilots, and Mike Kincaid's kind of running that little operation. And that's about all I have. Any questions?
Any events or any more pancakes or any?
We'll let you know.
Okay.
That takes a lot of work, and it, you know, members are encouraged to help us do that, but it's sometimes a challenge to get everything lined up.
Not typically during the winter.
Right. I know.
Chilly outside.
Marshmallow roast. Hot chocolate.
And we did have some discussion around the new sport pilot rules.
Yep.
Rachel,
Yep, and the mosaic, that's another discussion that we've been working on, because it's 728 pages of regulations and information that the FAA put out on this mosaic thing, and it's very complicated.
they
And
can't even explain it.
yeah, it's very, you know, you gotta have a lawyer kind of look at it. 'Cause there's a lot of words in there that mean a lot of things.
But what was it Rachel mentioned, how many pending applications do they have for air traffic
I
control?
think there's close to 12,000
12,000.
applications that they're trying to, and I found out some more information about that actually. It started, really what happened was it started back in the Obama administration. He actively did not let the air traffic controllers recruit at that time, and it's been backlog. That's 2015. It's been backlogging ever since. And then when this happened, then it really got backlogged. And so they have something like 12,000 controllers that have to come on staff. And Rachel indicated to us that they put out a request for medical personnel, like medical people that can do flight
Yeah,
physicals, because every controller has to have a class 1 or a, yeah, I guess it would be
Class
one,
1.
second, yeah. Flight physical before they can go on duty, and they don't have the you know, the AMEs to do all this, so they're requesting that each AME grab at least 10 a month to try to get the backlog unplugged. So that's kind of what I found out about that, and so there is, but it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years to get a controller up to speed. So even at that, you know, we're still way behind. But that's kind of discussions, and then we're finding people that want to, you know, tell us about aviation stuff, you know, like Dahar and Empire and those kind of people that we can, you know, have them come speak at our little meetings. But,
I know a suggestion was made to have somebody on the mechanic side do a presentation. at the
yeah,
next
that's in
meeting
the
to
works. Our
recommend
next meeting is
what
gonna
are
be,
maintenance.
we're gonna have somebody on the mechanic side try to explain to the pilots what's crucial and what's not crucial, and kind of go through the general maintenance of aircraft. And so
It's
on.
gonna be short, because it's all crucial.
So we're staying pretty busy with that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Gary. Moving on to business, item A, I think we've already covered, airport standards meeting, yes. Mentioned that we're going to have our subcommittee revisiting the red line copy of the standards sometime here, what, in December, do you anticipate, or?
Or even prior to Thanksgiving, possibly. We're gonna kind of see what everyone's schedule looks like, but I would like to have the newest version open, ready to go by January is what I'd be shooting for. By the end of January, have that published as the newest revision, so that's the goal.
What was this that you'd like to have published by January again, Guess? And I just kind of missed that.
The minimum standard revision.
Okay, that's coming out of the subcommittee and such.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, and that'll be visited by the advisory board before it goes on to the board of county commissioners.
Correct.
Sure
where
thing.
they do an up and down vote on it, and then it will be an official new version of the standards, so. So moving on, item B is one that Gas and I discussed, I wanted to add it on. This board typically meets monthly. That's been the tradition, and over the course of this year, we've had several meetings that we postponed, typically to a lack of agenda items. So I would like to propose or discuss with the board, there's not an action item on this, but the idea to change to every other month to have our scheduled meetings. So for example, if we were to initiate this in 2026, we would have a meeting in January and then move on to March and then May and so forth through the balance of the year. And then if we, for whatever reason, needed to have a meeting in between on any of those months, we would conduct that as a special meeting. But based on what I've seen with the agenda items that we've been coming up with for the last 12 months anyway, I don't think it's really necessary to have a monthly meeting. Gasson agreed with me, but I just wanted to throw it out to the other members of the board for discussion to see what your thoughts were. So maybe we could start with Sandra and work our way around. If there's any concerns you might have about that or anything you'd like to say.
No. No, it doesn't affect me. It'll be another meeting afterwards.
That's right.
I think it'd be an excellent idea every other month, and that'll work until you make that happen, and then there will be so much stuff flood in that would have to be. That's the way those things go. But it would be great to be able to have that option of every other month.
Well, I felt in a way that's kind of what we've been doing anyway, because the bylaws say that generally the meetings are held every month, but as often as necessary. So the bylaws are kind of open out of course. What we would do is we'd bring it to the board and make sure the board of county commissioners make sure that they're all right with it. But I felt like the most valuable parts of the meeting are the updates we get from the airport staff and the engineering, as well as Coeur d'Alene Airport Association. Given the change in management at the airport, you know, previously there used to be a lot of policy issues that I think necessitated more frequent meetings. I think that we're really past that now, where it's more housekeeping. And we do have some special subcommittees now with the development subcommittee and like with the standard subcommittee, and we've got the fees review committees that are going to cover more of the day-to-day or month-to-month business report as necessary to the board. That doesn't have to be every month. We haven't seen that yet anyway. So that was my thought in sponsoring this. What do you think, Larry?
I agree. I think it'd be a good idea. If something critical comes up, we're all available.
Gotcha.
You two have discussed it, so I'm pretty confident in the next question, but you don't see it impeding operation at any time, not having it.
I don't, and it would, the ultimate decision is always up to the advisory board. My office doesn't have anything to do with calling a meeting or not, but just the published schedule would essentially be every other month.
Sure.
Anything that needs to be talked about in between them would just be a special meeting.
Yeah.
You'd be able to publish that.
you know, the logistics of that would be, for example, my position as chairman, I would put out a feeler to everybody before the deadline for publishing an agenda and say, okay, does anybody feel a need to have a meeting this month? If you have an agenda item to offer, you think we need to meet this month and pass them along. And, you know, we decide to do it, then we'll have the meeting, otherwise we'll just stick with the established schedule. So, okay, well,
My only statement, I guess you mentioned it's in the policy somewhere that it would be monthly.
actually, it said,
Or guideline.
the way the bylaw is stated, I'll read it to everybody so we're clear on it. The KCAAB shall meet as needed, but generally every month, so.
Oh, that's great.
It's pretty wide open, and I know that I had it offered to me earlier, you know, last year, that you don't necessarily have to have a meeting if you don't have an agenda item, you know, don't really have agenda items, and that's what's happened. I run into situations where there's not really anything to talk about. At the time, I felt like, okay, there's value in having the meeting so that we can get the update from the airport, get the update from the engineer and whatnot. But I think doing that every other month is just a value item, is doing it every month.
I think this is great. I was curious about the wording in two directions. These are good times, with bad times come. We have the
Well,
option to,
Like I
that sounds
said,
like that wording allows.
you know,
change.
like I said, you know, previously there were a lot of policy issues that I
Yeah.
think necessitated more frequent meetings. Also, I've seen years ago when they would have these meetings, the advisory board really, at that time, I felt didn't really need to meet monthly, but they would anyway. It just became a tradition that, what the heck, if we don't need to do it. I know Tim Conberg a lot of times is busy with his business with Empire. Other people have conflicts come up. I know Brian, you know, got some traveling times when he hasn't been able to be here, so I'm thinking, well, you know, I think unless there's some particularly special need to have a meeting in a month and we don't have a meeting scheduled, you know, then there's no need to do it. So I'll put it on the agenda for the December meeting for us to vote on it officially. Do it that way and take it to the BOCC.
So Brian, did you have anything? I saw it pop up there.
No, I generally concur. I concur with that plan. So
Okay.
Gaston, you could possibly run that by the BOCC when we go down there next time too, couldn't you?
We definitely can.
You know, that way we would have, you know, you probably know before we had to act that they would be in favor of it instead of.
Well, as we discussed earlier, they have to publish, they'll publish meeting dates for next year, so they'll want to do it before they publish those.
Yeah, definitely.
Port Orlando Airport Association agrees with you.
Well, I know you guys talked about doing yours every other month too.
Oh, yeah.
And I would actually have another suggestion from the Airport Association. Rather than have your meeting a day ahead of this meeting, could you stagger it maybe a week or 2 weeks apart?
Yeah.
I mean, an item for discussion with you. I know for me, going to meetings both nights, to me, it would be a little bit easier if they were a week or two apart. I think
Right. We can do that.
we'll have some better discussions to develop as well. Okay, moving on to item C, input on agenda items for the next meeting. I'll need them by December the 3rd. That's when I have to have an agenda turned into the county so that they can publish it and meet the notice requirements. So I think you all have my email and my phone number. You can text me if there's anything you want to talk about. Feel free to send it along. I'll add it to the list. And other than that, just an open discussion among the group. If anybody has anything they want to talk about. I would mention one thing, Brian, I know that your term of office is going to be expiring at the end of this year. And I would assume you're going to be reapplying.
that is true.
Okay. And Sandra will be leaving us at the end of this year because of the recent election. We'll have a representative coming on from the city of Peyton. Well, thanks Sandra for her service. And that's all I have.
I have one question. Who's on the committee that's doing the standards now?
So we had, it was Harry Frank, I believe you were. there.
Myself,
Yeah.
Mike Jankowski. and
Pinkowski was on,
Steve.
we invited him to come back to it just to see it through.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. If you
Yeah.
guys were previous board members.
Yeah.
Correct.
Steve Anderson, I think.
And Steve Anderson.
Right, yeah, and I talked to both Steve
Okay.
and
Okay.
Mike last night to let him know that we were gonna be doing this. And we wanted to keep the original committee because, you know, they had the tribal knowledge of what we set out to do and what we had agreed on, so that,
Absolutely. And if someone from the current board would like to sit on that as well, we can always take someone else on to kind of get up to speed with that subcommittee as well. So if someone did want to sit on it, we can invite them as well.
Yeah, are you meeting periodically or just, I mean?
We'll
periodically?
honestly probably just have a meeting before we bring it back to the advisory board here before the end of the year. So there'll be one meeting scheduled between now and the end of the year.
and it's just really to review what we had done previously, which is why we wanted the original members.
Yep.
And then it will come before the airport advisory board. So
Yes.
Are you thinking of having that before December 7th? That subcommittee one last meeting?
Possibly, because we do have the fee subcommittee meeting right after Thanksgiving as well, first week of December.
It's in December.
Yeah,
that's it.
because remember, I have a little bit of attending that subcommittee meeting for the fees before December 7th.
Okay.
I'll have trouble getting, I mentioned that when we were at that meeting. But, you know, if you wanted somebody on this standards committee to just, and nobody else wants to do it or something like that, I'm happy to do it. And it's just my only constraint is just I can't do it and be there before December 7th.
Okay. And that week.
Like, unless you do it by Zoom, I'm happy to do it by Zoom. It's just I'll be overseas and I can connect. It's just I'll be overseas.
Okay.
Can't come in person.
Likely looking at that week, the first week there, the 7th, the week, Monday, the 8th, right in there.
If it's in there, that's fine. I'll be back.
We can have that red line done by then and then have that on the agenda to present to the advisory board on the 17th. To
Sure.
look at.
So I don't want to displace somebody who really wants to do it, but if you want somebody on that subcommittee and you're looking for a person, nobody else wants to jump up, I'm happy to serve.
Okay.
So you're talking about December 17th?
Correct. I would like to have it reviewed by then, by the subcommittee.
Okay, because then that would push it out in January again.
Right.
Anything else? Who want a public comment?
Just thank you for all you're doing, and your report was excellent.
Thank you.
I don't know why more people aren't here.
We're pretty entertaining.
Maybe no one thought I said the winner.
You probably saw snow removal meeting like
Yeah,
that,
right.
you're after the others.
So hey, just one last thing. Did you want me on the subcommittee just so I make clear? Or did somebody else volunteer?
If, up to you, Frank, if Brian can join either in person or remotely, that's fine with
You
me.
mean on that standards?
On the standard subcommittee.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I'll get with you, Brian, on the date as we move closer, but
I mean, we're not expecting to introduce any new material in it. It's just basically a review of what.
No, I don't want to do that either. I just, body, you need somebody. So it'd be helpful to understand that too. So
excellent.
I'm there and willing if you guys would want me. So.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dura, did you have anything, they have anything to present?
No, basically Gaston is taking that over from Green. Yeah. Okay, no public comment, moving on. Meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Greg.